So as you'll have noticed in the last few episodes, we've been coming back to Steel Melody a lot, and we've been going over to Andy and Liz's a lot. Andy and Liz's to work on the cockpit enclosure, and here to try and get Steel Melody further along in her progress. Now, one of the issues that we've got is that when we moved out the house, we stored a lot of the stuff that was in the garage at the house here. So there's a lot of timber on the boat, and all the sails for this boat and Ocean Melody and a couple of other sails that people have given us in case they're any use to us are all here. So that's kind of making my life a bit difficult working in this space. So what I'm here to do today is get some wood that I need on Ocean Melody, because we've got no door into the forepeak, and when Ollie is asleep in the forepeak, it's very, very easy to make a noise and wake him up. So I want to make some sort of door. We had thought about just hanging a curtain, but I think I can knock up a door to fit that space quite nicely. And I've got a piece of wood that's in my way here, so I need to cut the parts for that. And also I want to get all the sails off, because Andy and Liz have kindly said that I can take all the sails and store them in one of the barns at Whitehall, or one of the rooms at Whitehall, to get them out of the way, which will make my life here a lot easier. Before I get started though, I just wanted to say thank you to you for watching this video and for making what we're doing possible. The channel largely funds our lifestyle, not entirely, but largely now. We are full-time YouTubers, so most of our income, and it's not very much, we live on not a lot of money, but it does come from you and our patrons. So the YouTube revenue, when you watch these videos, if you see the adverts come up, the skippable and non-skippable ads, I know they're annoying, but they actually provide us with a few £100 a month, if I'm honest. It's not much more than that, and then Patreon kind of doubles that. So I won't go into too much into exact figures, but that kind of gives you an idea. But so thank you to you for watching. But what will really help our channel grow is if you're not a subscriber, please click the subscribe button, because the more people that watch the video and don't subscribe, YouTube thinks, okay, so people are watching for whatever. But the more people that watch the YouTube videos and click the subscribe button, that kind of triggers the YouTube brain to thinking, oh, hang on, people are subscribing to this channel, the channel is growing, and then that computer algorithm then boosts the video and shows it to more people, so more people see the videos and the whole thing snowballs. We kind of had a spate of that after we had that huge massive video a few years ago where we did the time lapse, and we got loads and loads of subscribers really quickly, and that really helped the channel. It'd be nice to see something like that again, but you can't predict when those kind of things are happening. So please, if you're not a subscriber, I think the current rate is about 55%. I'll put it on the screen, but I think 55% of the people watching aren't subscribed, and about 40-something% are subscribed. So we'd like to really get that number up. So thank you for watching, but also please go ahead and click the subscribe button. Anyway, I better get this stuff moved and get the wood cut and get the sails into the car, eh? Whew. That was hard work. A lot of those sails you've just seen me chuck off the boat are kind of surplus ones. Some of them are old sails that came with Ocean Melody, which are way beyond their best, kind of the old sails. And as you know, we're getting new sails for Ocean Melody over time, thanks to our amazing partners, Precision Sails. So a lot of those sails are surplus anyway, but I don't want to chuck them just yet, not until we've got all the ones that, you know, figured out exactly which ones we want to keep. And then some others, somebody gave me some sails off another boat, which might be useful for this or might be useful for Steel Melody, for Ocean Melody, but I haven't gone through them properly to see what's suitable and what isn't. Right, the next thing is to cut this piece of timber down and see if there's still room in the car for it, because I've just filled the car with sails and there might actually not be room now, but I think there will be. Right, let's get the chunk of wood out and see what I can make of it. I've got the measurements in my camera bag. Again, this is all reclaimed timber. It's actually hardwood ply that was on the back of a wardrobe, but it's a really nice piece of wood. Door is banded together. I've tacked it together with super glue, which is fine actually. It's the right shape, the right size, the right dimensions. Before I sand and finish and varnish and paint it and permanently adhere it all together, I'm going to take it to the boat as it is and make sure it fits, because there's going to be a fair bit of planing and shaping to get this to go perfectly into that door aperture, I think. But that there is a door made of hardwood marine grade plywood and hardwood Sapele or Roco frame. I might actually put another piece across the middle, a couple across the middle just for decoration, but they're not actually doing anything structural. Let's go and see if it fits on the boat, and more to the point, let's see if it'll fit in the car. So I think the plan is to fiberglass this top today. We've got the fiddle all fiberglassed and epoxied, so that should hold the shape, the bow of it in place. And there's also a slight slit to facilitate it to bend outwards. So the first thing we're going to do is release all of these little bits of wire that are holding it down to the frame, and fingers crossed it'll hold its shape. If it doesn't, then we'll back it off and fill the little slit that we've made laterally and, you know, across the length and width of it, and that should again help it hold its shape. We'll leave the wires in until, just in case we need to tighten them back up again.
Yeah.
It's not under that much tension, to be honest.
No, that's what I mean. It should be.
I think it'll be fine.
It's just whether that inner section relaxes.
Yeah. And to be honest, even if it does, and we fiberglass it up in that position, is it going to have enough flex in with the fiberglass to pull back onto the frame anyway?
Yeah, it probably would do. You just end up with all your fixing being under more stress than they'd need to be.
Remember as well, we need to, we said, is it a good idea to make our little cardboard templates for our stainless brackets before we lift this off?
Well, we'll relax it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't move, we can leave it in situ or off it back up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll up maybe 10 mil on this side, but it's generally keeping it shape.
Has it come up a bit, is it?
Only, yeah, say 10 mil or so.
Yeah, that's pinged up again. Only like. Yeah, my concern is.
Yeah, I've probably got 2 centimetres.
So when we relaxed off all the little fixings that were holding it down into shape, what we found was it has sprung up a little bit. Now, we can still push it down into shape, but by the time we've done the fiberglass skin on the top, we feel like that's going to be quite difficult to pull it back down onto the shape of the frame. So what we're going to do is pull it back down onto the shape of the frame now, glass cloth a piece right up the middle, the full width of a piece of a roll of fiberglass, let that go rock hard, and then we can take it off and it'll hold its shelf. So this is the width of the roll of fiberglass. So we're going to strap it back down to the frame, do one width of fiberglass from here all the way to the front, or nearly, stop short of those dowels at the front, let that go off, and that will definitely hold the shape. You see how I can push down on this nose bit and it flexes, opens this slot that we've cut out slightly. So we're going to fill that cut with thickened epoxy, glass down the centre, let that go hard, and then it will properly hold its shape. Something people were asking about the other day about, I mentioned this on our Patreon video, which of course if you're not a patron you won't have seen, but in terms of collecting water and holding water, people were concerned that the solar panels are going to be sat swimming in water in this. Well, they're not, because they're going to be on some stainless brackets which are going to hold them out of any standing water, and we're going to be installing these. So these are little stainless steel drain holes. We're going to recess those and mount them flush, put some carbon fibre or some fiberglass tube through with a hose lock fitting, or a hose attachment of some variety, so that we can take that water to our water tanks. And the idea is that hopefully, if we can engineer it, that the solar panels will be able to tip up, hinge up, so that we can angle them to the sun for better efficiency, but also so that we can get sweep and clean underneath them, so if there's any sand or debris or dirt or bird guano or anything like that that's got under there. So the idea is, in our heads, obviously not when you're at sea, because as Pam messaged us and said, at sea you're getting a lot of salt spray on there and you can't drink that water. But when you're at anchor, which we will be a lot of the time, and you get a torrential downpour, go outside, give the panels a quick sweep, lift it up, sweep underneath them, just get any nasties off there, and then let it run clear water for a minute or two, and then you can capture some of that water, if not all of it, for your water tanks. And if it doesn't work and we find that it's not an effective system, well, who cares? We can just put an extra couple of drain holes in, and it's a roof with a grab rail that holds the solar panels. But yeah, don't worry about the panels and the electric cabling sitting, swimming in water. We just won't let that happen by putting in sufficient drainage. Yeah. So the idea now, we've got this strap back down. I don't know if you can see this, but we actually deliberately put a little slice in there with a blade to allow this to open up that way, and it slopes down. And when we relaxed these, it kind of opened up back a bit too flat. So we're going to run a line of fiberglass cloth down the centre, just dead simple, just thickened epoxy all over, get a nice load of it into this crack in the middle. Can I stand on the front of this?
You can if I hold this back face down.
Yeah, that's easy then. Yeah, and then let that go hard before taking these off again. What I was doing there, if you're wondering, is just cutting off the peel ply, or cutting the excess off the peel ply, so that I can see exactly where I want to glass to. That stuff isn't this stuff I've cut off. That's not fiberglass cloth, that's peel ply, which creates a nice texture, sucks out extra epoxy, and reduces the amount of finishing time needed for carrying on with the job. So don't worry, I wasn't cutting fiberglass off, I'm just peel ply. Something that Matt from Duracell Project told us was to work out how much epoxy resin and hardener you need to mix. The simple way is to weigh a piece of fiberglass and make up the same amount of epoxy. So this piece of fiberglass on our digital scales weighs 2 kilos.
2 kilos, 2.04.
2.04, so 2 kilograms. So if we mix up 2 kilos of epoxy.
Yeah.
Good God.
Well, that's why you bought 15 kilos of epoxy.
Yeah. So 2 kilograms, so that's 4 whole pots. So 500 grams per pot, basically, give or take. So before we do that, I'm just going to mix up the thickened slurry layer to go down on the fiberglass, but then we'll mix up 4 whole pots of epoxy in one go and dump it on and work quickly. And hopefully that should get round the issues that we had last time of the pots going off a little bit, because we were mixing a pot, putting it on, mixing another pot, putting it on. But if we mix all 4, you get it. So we are, as you can see, we've got the centre section that we're going to glass covered in this thickened slurry layer. The next thing we're going to do is mix up 2 kilos of normal epoxy and get glassing and get the centre section all glassed up properly. So that's the next thing now, is 2 kilograms, which is how many pots? 8.
Depends on what you put in pot. Yeah, 8 to do 5 pot.
Yeah, 8 pots of epoxy then, get it mixed. Yeah, that's right, so it's 500 grams per pot, so it's 4 pots. And that will be enough for us to get the cost down. I'm going to mix up 4 pots of epoxy. Andy's just gone to go and get the scales so that they can weigh out this epoxy and mix it really properly, because you get a more accurate mix between the resin and the hardener if you do it by weight. As you notice, John's tube roller is there, which I've got back, but don't worry John, I'm not going to leave it outside. It's not been outside. We've just brought it out, keep it in the garage, but then bring it out so it's out of the way, and then tonight when we put everything away it'll go back in the garage. Right. Okay, so that's all wetted out. The next thing to do is get the glass cloth on. Right, that's properly wetted out now. We've spent a good amount of time with the kind of soft squeegees and soft scraper, pulling every single bubble out from under that. So, I mean, sod's law, more will appear, but really confident that that's good and really strong. So the next thing is put the peel ply on and walk away. We're running out of peel ply, but we've got enough to do the rest of the job. So we're going to quickly go over this with the sander tomorrow, the side pieces, before we put the glass up the sides. So we're just running peel ply down the centre, because there's going to be a little bit of an overlap in the glass cloth anyway. Bit frustrating, because now we can't touch this. We can pick it up and move it inside, but we can't really do anything else with this until that's rock hard. What it does mean, as I've said earlier, is that the middle section is now going to be holding the shape both of the apex that way and the lean down on the nose, so that when we take off the dowels and the bits of twine, it'll hold its shape, and then we can just do a border all the way around the edge, again with peel ply. So it was going to be great. It's just a slow process, which is kind of why I like working in steel.
Yeah.
Because with steel, you just
hot glue it together and it's
yeah,
done.
You just weld it together and it's job done. So we're going to stick the whole structure back into the garage so that bits from the trees don't land on it, and if it starts raining, it doesn't cause a disaster, and then come back to it in a few hours, 12 hours or so, when it's a bit more set. It's the next morning. We're going to pull it back out of the shed and undo all of the little toggly things and see if it pops up. It shouldn't do now. We're just discussing these drain holes. So these are stainless steel 316 marine grade drain holes, and we're putting silicone pipe on them, and obviously nothing sticks to silicone but silicone. So what we're going to do is I'll order some fiberglass tube which is big enough to insert this, glass the fiberglass tube into the tray, and then have this recessed, routed down and recessed so that it sits flush, and then if there's ever any issues, take out the 3 screws, pull that, withdraw that with its length of tube, and on the bottom of this tube we can have any fitting we want to go to our water tanks, which we'll decide on when we get to that stage. Right, progress. This is actually upside down now. We've taken off the peel ply because we're going to have an overlap in the glass cloth. So we've sanded the area that we're going to be glass clothing. We've also flipped it over and taken off the worst of the little dribbles of epoxy from around this beveled edge. So this is what the underside now looks like with the peel ply taken off. And the only reason, as I say, we've taken the peel ply off is because we're overlapping fiberglass, so it kind of gets in the way. But we could have probably left it on and just peeled back the edges, but there you go. So we're going to flip it back now and start glassing the strips around the edge of the top half. We could stand this on the bathroom scales when it's done.
Yeah.
Just to see how much it weighs. It doesn't weigh a lot though.
No.
We're going to put both solar panels on, see how they sit.
Do bear in mind, if they don't fit.
Do bear in mind we're going to be mounting them on stainless brackets, angle brackets, which I haven't gone into yet on the videos, but you'll see all in good time. And they're going to be held off the fiberglass. They're not going to be sitting in water, as I've said. So for now, this is just the position, not the elevation. Loads of room. So that's the position of where the panels will sit, more or less, you know. But there's plenty of room. There's an inch or so all the way around for water to run off the panels. They're going to be sitting slightly higher. There were some concerns in the comments that the fiddle would create shade. It's definitely not unless the sun is like down here somewhere. If the sun's anywhere above the horizon, it's going to. And remember, there's the apex on the roof, so that's not a problem. Plus, the panels will actually sit half an inch higher than that. So yeah, that's going to be absolutely perfect. Couldn't wish for more. Right, on with the glassing, I guess. Now that the roof of the enclosure is taking shape, we can start to think about how we're going to make the front screen for the enclosure. And of course I need to get the door to the forepeak fettled, finished and fitted. So all of that with any luck's coming up next time. In the meantime, if you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a comment and a thumbs up. And if you want to support what we're doing, head over to patreon.com/sailingmelody. Thanks as always to our incredible patron family whose names are on the screen now. See you next time.